Welcome back to Director's Choice. The movie Turning Red was just released, and as you can imagine, every die-hard Pixar fan is scratching their head to find out where it fits into the Pixar Theory.
Action with red pandas.
Are you kidding me?
This little quirk!
Is the theory that states that all Pixar movies are connected and all happen in one single timeline.
Oh! Do you know how dangerous this is?
In this video, I'll be showing you how exactly the Turning Red movie fits into this theory. To get started, here's a quick breakdown of the Pixar Theory. The Pixar Theory was originally developed by John Negroni. He even wrote a book about it. His theory places every Pixar movie in one large timeline, starting way back in the prehistoric times of The Good Dinosaur and ending in Monsters, Inc. Though some believe it ends in the movie Brave and then starts all over again. That's right, the whole Pixar theory is a never-ending cycle centered around Boo and Sully from Monsters, Inc. Fans believe that Boo traveled back in time to protect Sully from the final death by remembering him. This memory theory was given to us by Coco, which shows how remembering someone keeps them from ever really disappearing. As we see this with Chicharron, Hector's friend, who fades away after there is no living person to remember him and put his picture on the ofrenda, and with Riley's imaginary friend Bing Bong from Inside Out, who fades away after Riley forgets him and he goes to the memory dump. Now, although Pixar has never confirmed this theory, it makes so much sense that most fans have accepted it as true. Plus, there's the fact that Pixar leaves Easter eggs in every film that requires fans to look closely to get the full picture of the Pixar universe. Set in Toronto in the early 2000s, Turning Red tells the story of young Mei-Lin Lee, struggling to navigate life as a 13-year-old, but with a hairy twist. She has the ability to turn into a giant red panda whenever she feels strong emotions. This gift turns out to be an ancestral curse that affects all the women in her family. May, overwhelmed with emotions after her mother embarrassed her in front of her crush and the school bully, wakes up the next morning as a huge red panda. She hides from her parents, and her mom believes she has started her period. But she later discovers the truth when her embarrassment causes May to transform again at school. As it turns out, the Lee women have been given this ability to use their emotions to turn into a giant red panda. The family matriarch, Soon Yi, was originally given this gift during a war to protect her daughters, and since then, every woman in May's family has received this gift. Because of how inconvenient the transformation is in modern times, the Lee family developed a ritual to trap the bear spirit in a talisman. The ritual is to take place during a red moon. In the ritual, the woman in question stands in the middle of a drawn circle and sings from the heart, similar to the movie Onward, in which Ian was required to speak from his heart's fire before he could perform magic. The ritual allows the woman in the circle to enter the spirit realm. She passes through a mirror that separates her from the bear spirit, and someone from the circle seals the spirit in the talisman, allowing her to live a somewhat normal life. Turning Red was set in May 2002. This places the events of this movie somewhere between Toy Story 2 and Finding Nemo.
Your mom must have gone nuclear.
Who cares? What's she gonna do? Ground me?
The ability of the women in May's family to shapeshift into big red pandas gives a nod to Merida's mother's bear transformation in Brave. It also adds to the theory that the humans who returned to Earth on the Axiom in WALL-E ultimately evolved into the monsters from Monsters, Inc. As we see in Brave, there are scenes where Merida's mother appears to have been overpowered by the bear spirit. If humans continue to be possessed by animal spirits from generation to generation, this suggests that eventually the dark side will take over and all humans will become monsters. The ritual in Turning Red, which allows the Lee women to separate from the panda spirit, is also quite similar to the Mordu death scene where his spirit separates from the bear. The spirit of Mordu that floats out of the bear's dead body is so different from the Mordu described in the stories that it adds to the theory that he no longer had any control in his bear form. Some fans believe that 22, from the movie Soul, is the soul that currently inhabits May's body. They suggest that 22 became May after she left the Great Before and came to Earth. This is yet another unconfirmed but shockingly possible fan theory. The theory is based on the numerology of the movies. Turning Red was released in 2022, and the character in Soul is named 22. It's also based on the fact that May and 22 are both characters searching for their purpose.
OMG, Mirror! I'll guard it with my life! Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you!
Another point that buttresses this theory is that in the ending scenes of Soul, 22 seem to have landed somewhere in mainland China, which is where May's ancestors lived before they moved to Toronto. Unfortunately, this theory is not universally accepted by Pixar fans because of its many loopholes. For example, in Soul, smartphones already exist, whereas in Turning Red, they all have flip phones. This sets Soul after the events of Turning Red, and not before. After watching the movie, many fans have speculated the possibility of Boo not only being alive in the movie, but being the mother of May's best friend, Abby. Boo was one of the main characters in Monsters, Inc., and she is practically the foundation of the whole Pixar theory. The monsters from Monsters, Inc. traveled back in time to ignite fear in little children and used this fear to power their city. As the movie progresses, the monsters realize that laughter and joy create more energy than fear, and they decide to use that to power their city instead.
You're no longer hiring scarers?
Scarers are out. Jokesters are in.
Is this a joke? Report to MIFT!
Boo and Sully became best friends, but after Sully leaves through the magic door and never comes back, Boo spends the rest of her life trying to find him, and in the end, figures out time travel. She travels back in time and becomes the witch in Brave, who turned Merida's mother into a witch. Boo goes back in time to remember Sully and keep him from experiencing the final death. The movie suggests that monsters traveled back to the late 1950s because Boo owned a Woody doll, which would have come out around that time. This means that around the time of Turning Red, Boo would have been in her early 40s, and fans believe that she's Abby's mom. And that's how Turning Red fits into the Pixar theory. Turning Red was a great watch, so if you haven't watched it, you definitely should. And don't forget to keep your eyes peeled for Easter eggs. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Please take a look at this recent clip by Director's Choice and be sure to subscribe to our channel and click the notification button to get a notification whenever we drop a new video.